Hi guys, this is the advisor and welcome back to the channel of upright men and women. Today we're going to examine the words of Saint Mavado, words he spoke, I hear Saturday evening, pertaining to the release of his son, Saint Dante Brooks, from prison after his conviction was squashed on Friday. That is March 8th. And for those of you who have not yet heard, this is one of the most amusing statements you will ever hear in your entire life. And you will need to strap yourself down because this is going to be fun this Monday morning. But before I do that, I am now making an open challenge to any human being on the face of this earth, any human being who thinks that I am wrong when I said that President Putin and President Trump are the best peacemakers that we have in the world today. Right now, as I'm speaking, you may you may not agree with me. Fine, that's fine. But I challenge you, any human being on the face of this earth, to answer the 5 questions I'm listing now. Because ignorant people who has no idea about world affairs, people who have never heard the word Ukraine and never knew that Ukraine existed until 3 years ago, not supposed to come on Yatho and make any decision or even have an opinion on Ukraine. Because the fact that you disagree with me, it means that you cannot answer properly. None, not one single one of the 5 questions that I have listed. And if you never knew about Ukraine, if you're just learning about Ukraine 3 years ago and just realizing that it exists 3 years ago, then who are you to even mention the word Ukraine in your mouth now? But since you are going to do that, step up to my level. Go do some research and get some facts based on those 5 questions. And then come talk to me. And by the way, a very important thing I need to point out. Those of you who are acutely paying attention, you will realize that I keep mispronouncing the artist's name. I keep referring to him as Mavado. And for some, it may indicate that I'm stupid. But sometimes being too intellectual can make you actually sound stupid. There is a brand of watch called Mavado, Movado, and I've been very familiar with these watches since the 1970s. They are some of the most expensive watches in the world. Poor people cannot afford to buy them. And because of my familiarity with that brand of watches, I keep slipping up when I'm to call the artist's name, which is Mavado, which is Mavado. So if you guys hear me say Mavado, it's because me overly bright and I become me dunce. Anyway, guys, get ready for no joke now. Comedy starts now. Here are the words that is in the newspapers now pertaining to what Mavado said, pertaining to his son's release from prison. Now, take a listen. It has taken me some time to process all that has taken place, but I am ready to speak. To God be the glory. Yeah, man, we have to mix up God in our nonsense, you know. Quote, he comes first in everything I do. Man, like send your son go kill people. Anyway, I am naturally elated, relieved, and full of joy that my son Dante has been freed from the state-imposed hell that he has endured for 7 years of his young life. But at the same time, there is a fire raging within me at the injustice, or as the appeal judges put it, the substantial miscarriage of justice that has taken place. Wow, really fine words those, aren't they? Now, let us unpack that, people. Say it, Mavado, you needed no time to process what had taken place. You, since your son had been in prison, you have been following it up and you know exactly the strategy that the lawyers were going to use. And I don't mean just at the appeal. You knew what would have happened and the strategy that would be used at the trial. And as for state-imposed hell that he has endured for 7 years, what you did there when your son are bad? Since him be a prison or since him get arrested, you know, say, you were to be a father, a step up in the youth life as a father. And don't talk about the raging fire within you at the injustice. Talk about the raging fire that was inside you to become the Dan of cassava piece. And how much you wanted to relive your gangster life through your son. Why you don't talk, say, that because of your morbid urge to build up gully, as in a call cassava piece, to become the opposing stance to Gaza, which was owned by the other mongrel Vibes cartoon, and just because you were unable to run gully yourself, you brought up your son to run gully on your behalf. So you wanted to be the head of gully by proxy. You know, see, from your son get convicted, no, we don't hear about Gaza and gully. Well, we still hear about Gaza, but we don't hear about gully. Anyway, let us continue with your words. Saint Mavado. A trial without a jury, decided by a lone judge who chose not to take into account the number of times the single witness changed his statements, admitted to lying to the police, and fabricated the account of events. The prosecution could not properly contest the appeal and did not request a retrial, admitting along the way that they did not follow basic legal protocol. They sensationalized the story with outrageous claims, which the post-mortem also proved to be lies. Now, let us unpack that. The decision to have the trial without a jury was taken by Dante's lawyer, and this was conveyed to you as it being the best outcome. And why you think your lawyer chose that? I'm going to tell you why. Saint Mavado. There I go again. The reason was that your lawyer felt that it would be easier to bribe one judge than to bribe a jury of 12. Now, I'm not saying it worked, but it probably worked in the end, in the sense that the judge deliberately did some wrong summing up. And this is speculation now, because I'm not going to put the judge himself on trial here, but I'm just giving a possible scenario. It is possible that the judge actually took a bribe, but him couldn't be faced with it so and just let him go so because of the strength of the eyewitness testimony. So him have to do some wrong summing up and make the case bust an appeal. Because it's easier for him do 7 years than do 22. So that's a possibility. And I'm just throwing that out there. But let's continue. For you to come now and talk about him get only a judge trial shows just how disingenuous and evil you are, Saint Mavado. Now, let us continue with what he said. The Court of Appeal has granted a full acquittal, showing how false, contrived, and concocted this whole case has been from day one. They also tried to drag my name through the mud to help them carry out their wrongdoings and garner headlines for themselves. Lord Jesus and peace, I want to fall me my word pan. But anyway, let's continue. Well, this story and those headlines are far from over, and we will see the names of those conspirators and workers of iniquity brought to bear to face justice and accountability for their egregious actions and motivations. Oh, stick up in right at now. Who write them there for him? Because Mavado know that, right? Yeah, man, you get a good speech writer still. But I'm available for them kind of work there, you know. I'm a wordsmith too. Whoever out there want me to write some good words for them, trust me. You can come hire me. Me will fix up sitting to you. All God we sorry for you and things are not saint. But come to think of it, Mavado. Saint Mavado. Till I get tongue twisted with a name here. Based on what you said here, I get the impression that the police did just go take your son out of bed somewhere for no reason at all and just go pick him up and just pin charge upon him and carry him go a courthouse and just send him away just for the firk of it. And that you try to imply right so you know. Them never come for me. Them never come for nobody else picnic. Why them come for your picnic? What does the state have against your child that them not have against nobody else picnic? Or should I say your child and the co-accused? Now, one of the things I'm failing to understand is this. How can this man's eyewitness report not be valid? This is a man who put your son on bicycle and drop him off at a basic school. And the man stand up there and know your picnic over the years. Watch him grow. This a man will help grow your picnic. You go and tell me say at this time, him no know Saint Dante and can't identify Saint Dante? Saint Mavado? Finally, let me say this. Because your son has been acquitted does not in any way at all even suggest that he did not commit the crime. Let me tell you and let me tell the world, for those who don't know, why he got off. And listen carefully. The Court of Appeal panel expressed the view that the trial judge's failure to properly caution himself about the risk associated with identification evidence, along with the credibility of the prosecution's sole witness, led to the applicants being denied the legal safeguards designed to prevent the serious danger of conviction based on unreliable identification testimony. Now, as I said before, how can this youth, or rather, how can this man who put your picnic on bicycle and drop him off a basic school as a youth when he might grow up, how can him not know your son when this man helped grow him, in a sense? So, the technicality is this. The judge failed to properly caution himself. In other words, what the judge should have done was to have said, I now caution myself by taking into consideration the identification evidence. He didn't use those words. The judge should have also said in his summing up, I am concerned about with the credibility of the sole witness, which of course is the father of the dead man. And simply because the judge did not use those words, same caution himself, and did not speak to the fact that the identification of Saint Dante could have been wrong just for lack of not using those words. Maybe it's a bit more complex than that, but basically what it boiled down to, him never used certain words. And that means that Saint Dante is innocent? No. As for legal action, who you gonna sue, idiot? So that part of the comment that has been put out, me know say you write the part there. You just extemporized that part. You can't sue nobody. For what? For you to sue somebody or take any actions against the courts, you would have to prove that the prosecution was malicious. You would have to prove that there were no grounds whatsoever for the court to have prosecuted. And there is absolutely not one single. There is not the slimmest possibility of that even getting off the ground. And I don't think any lawyer with a conscience would have even take your money. They just give you some free advice and say, man, go sit down and leave well enough alone. Thanks for visiting my channel. Like, share, leave a comment below, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video.